being a doctor is like being a rabbi or a priest. You just you go home, but you're still a rabbi or a priest, no matter what the day of the week it is. Someone calls their loved ones in the hospital, you get dressed, you go counsel them. And to me, that's being a doctor is the same thing. Someone calls on Sunday and they need your help. You pick up the phone and you do what you can. I don't think this younger generation has that feeling of community and working together. It's more about me. And I do my shift work and then don't bother me when I get home.
It's the
And
whole hospitalist thing, which is a new special, quote unquote, specialty. It's hard for us to compete. They spend 3 years in the hospital, then they get, what are you most comfortable doing? Seeing ear infections and Jim said autism, or staying in the hospital. So they stay in the hospital. And like you said, do the shift work. So it's hard for us to find new people to do what we want to do.
I blame that mentality on lack of mentorism. Because if you hear in all the conversation, everybody instilled how to be a doctor into the next generation. And a lot of these hospital people, they go home at 5. So we're trying to change it at the medical student level when we have the students in the office. And I think we're growing them. At least I try.
No, it's true. We provide a service that people just can't go to the next street corner and get. So it's true what Herb said is we have to always be there for everybody in order to be reliable for everybody.
And that's a conversation that we have to put out to the new kids on the block. And it's you, Scott, you got to push that down to them. Because they look at me, they're scared of me.
And then Nick joined the practice. What did it look like when you got there?
I joined in 2004, and they just opened the Bayshore location 1 year prior. When I came on board, they had the PCC computerized billing, but it wasn't until 2008 that they went over to the electronic health record, the first one that we started in Countercurrent. So I spent a few years on the paper charts, and I remember we had to look at who was working at each office location, and if I was scheduled to work in the other location, they would give me the charts from the patient that I would have to bring back there to the other location if they were to see me there, because now we had a satellite office. And then I would have to bring it back to the Comac office so they can live on the wall.
Yeah.
I remember that.
You try to not do too much of that because it was a pain in the neck. So we used to force the people to pick an office. And that's this look.
And it was an exception to the rule to switch locations because it was quite tedious. But we saw that's what they wanted. So we came to accommodate that over time. And then once we implemented electronic health record, then the paper chart was no more. So the chart followed you wherever the computer was. So that should be more accessible for the patients and for us.
Interesting thing, Nick, if you think back, we had the electronic health record for a while before we started to allow the cross-pollination. And why did that happen, Neil? Why did we not allow them even with the computers? Because it was always done this way.
No, but it was very cumbersome when it first started because we put 6 visits on a sheet of paper, 3 on each side. And someone came to Comac that was a Bayshore patient. You'd have 1 visit. It would go back, but it would end up in the chart. You'd have 3 or 4 of these 1-visit sheets. So it was hard to follow it chronologically. So it really was not great record keeping. That's what the EMRs is perfect for that.
Yeah.
I also recall I had an interest in developmental pediatric medicine and behavioral health. So I went and I did a little mini fellowship training in that area. And then I started to work on seeing those patients rather than referring all of them out. And once that happened for me, I started to see more of those patients come from areas outside of our practice and word of mouth. I think at this point, I see a lot of that spilling over into other doctors in our group who have an interest in that and who have an ability to cater to the specialized needs of this patient population, behavioral health, and the chronic conditions now we are.
So now Nick became medical director of the behavioral health program. And he does general peds too. So it's not to do what you want. You just have to develop it and think it.
Right. Standardizing the process, keeping the workflow is important because we have so many moving parts here. I mean, the staffing to what you're doing